So I debated with myself on this book if I should cover it now, since it's summertime and I do get a lot of summer vibes from this book, or if I should cover this in October during my horror readathon, or as I like to call it, a spoopathon. Um, Basically, where I read a bunch of horror books, I cover a bunch of horror books, and comics as well. Of course, I'm not changing that anytime soon. But it seems that Jason has forced my hand. Hello, everyone. Britton here, also known as the Muggy Dude, and today I'm going to be covering a different kind of book. And the book I'm covering today is Bam! Gone to See the Riverman from Christopher Triana. This was one of those books that I had heard about for a while, and I read it last year because I had seen some reviews covering it, and I have a bit of an odd interest in really dark and messed up stuff, so I decided, you know what, I'll give this a shot. It was actually Violet. Is it Prin, like Gwen, like John Gwen, Violet Preen? I'll link her review down below. She's pretty cool. She runs a great channel. She covers mostly horror stuff, but she was the one who got me to read this, and I actually was convinced to read this when I was on a vacation in a kind of rural area, or well, not really a vacation. My cousin was graduating from college at the time, so I decided to. And it was also really hot where I was. I was in Arkansas, so it was really hot where I was. It was really musty, and I thought, you know what, this book seems like it captures that kind of vibe. So I decided to pick it up and read it. And man, let me tell you right now, this book was really good in my opinion. It's rare that a novel gets such a visceral reaction out of me, but this one did, for reasons which I will not go into because, spoilers. Now, I will say, real quick before I start this review, that I might flirt with some spoilery territory, so keep in mind that might happen. I'm not saying I will spoil the whole thing, um, but I might go into some spoilery territory, but I will be as vague as possible because I want you all to go read this and discover it for yourselves. But like I said, I discovered this book, and no books, or not no books, but it's rare that a book has such a visceral reaction out of me. I had to put this book down a few times and just go, oh man, like, wow, that really happened, like that was really intense. And it's very rare for a book to do that for me. Now, if you are an experienced splatterpunk fan, which is what this book is a part of, I'm guessing, then I'm guessing you're kind of used to this type of messed up stuff. But I was not at all prepared for. I mean, I was prepared for some dark stuff, but I was not prepared for the dark stuff that happened in this book. I'll just put it that way. There are authors out there, in my opinion, who can really write these repulsive, repugnant, alliteration there, morally disgusting characters and make them compelling for for readers. Cormac McCarthy, of course, Vladimir Nabokov, who wrote Lolita, which is one of my favorite books, Bret Easton Ellis, Irvine Welsh, Warren Ellis, the comic book writer, and even my friend Curtis Lawson. I'm sure he'll appreciate the shout out. Is also I would say is on that list. Who can write these really disgusting, evil people and still make them human and still make them interesting for the audience, or whoever is reading them. Triana is one of the people who I think can write about people who are disgusting and evil and degraded morally, because he has a real gift, not unlike Joe Abercrombie, for getting inside of the heads of his characters, seeing how they think, and how their actions and how they convince themselves of what they're doing, how they justify their actions to themselves. He's very good at that, and I was very much impressed with how he managed to get inside the character of the characters, particularly of Lori, which is creepy because Lori is my mother's name, so that made this book even creepier for me. Now, luckily, the Lori in this book is a lot different from my mom, so hi, Mom, if you watch this, please don't get mad at me. Um, but I was even reminded of Lolita, and I wouldn't say Gone to See the Riverman is as beautifully written as Lolita is. I mean, Lolita is a completely different book than Gone to See the Riverman. But similarly, Triana has a gift, manages to get you to almost feel sorry for Lori at first. I should know at first before you really learn of her true nature as the book goes along. Now I've talked about prose in my videos before. I did a video with my friend Jason. We did a discussion about the intricacies of prose, how it works, what we look for when we're reading prose. But for me, the best kind of prose is the prose where you feel like you're right there alongside the characters. You're in this place. You can see it with your eyes. You can feel it. You can smell it even. You can taste the grit. Cormac McCarthy's very good at that. Triana also says that he is very good at this. His prose is very skilled. It's not apparently so, because it's not necessarily flowery or anything like that. But, you know, as Jason and I think we kind of discussed in our prose video, you don't necessarily have to be flowery or purple to have good prose. And I think Triana has very good prose. You can feel the just southern atmosphere, this just muggy, hot. You can feel the sweat, you can feel the humidity up coming from the place. You can sense the sweat. There's even a moment where she goes inside of Edmund, or Edmund is the serial killer that Lori is obsessed with. She goes inside of his hut, and you can just sense the disgusting degradation of this place, the just foulness of it. And there's a part where she like looks through a corpse. Now it's kind of spoilery, but it's not really like that important. But it's like there's a moment where she goes and looks inside of like a corpse for a key, and yeah, it was nasty. It was absolutely disgusting. I'm just gonna put it blunt. It was disgusting, and and there's a point where she gagged, and like you feel it. You're just like, oh my god, it's disgusting. Ugh. But really, I find what makes this book as powerful as it is that Triana tricks you, and I really love when authors can trick you. I guess that's why I like Lolita so much. But the thing about that we end up figuring out is that you walk into this. I guess what impressed me so much is that you walk into this novel. Let me just read some part of the background. These people, the superfans, groupies, stalkers. These people will give anything for the idols they worship. Be they rock stars, actors, or authors, or even serial killers. Lori's obsession is with Edmund Cox, who was convicted of butchering more than 20 women. She will do anything to get close to him, so when she gives her a task, she accepts. So when you read the back of this, you get the idea, okay, Lori is probably not a very stable person. And also, there is a real thing where there are people who grow kind of obsessed with serial killers. You saw this a lot with Ted Bundy, because Ted Bundy was, admittedly a very attractive, charming man. I mean, that's what he used to, do what he did. Mm. But you think, when you read this, you're like, okay, this is probably going to be a very damaged, disturbed individual. But then, Triana gives you these very humanizing moments of Lori. You see her with her sister, who is mentally disabled, and you kind of realize that she's had a lot of issues since she was growing up. She has this very dark past. But then, he pulls the freaking rug out from under you, cruelly, I might add, and showcases the complete monster that is within Lori. And then showing you that, oh no, she was crazy, and she is just as insane and just as twisted as Edmund Cox is. Just, in a different way, of course. But what I find that this book is about ultimately is, or ultimately, Laurie's character arc revolves around denial. Because she's in denial of what she did. And that's kind of, I saw Jason's review, which I'll also link down below. Go check it out. It's good. I think it was a good review, even if I disagreed with it. But my big gripe with his video is he said the character arc felt disjointed. It was because she is in denial of what she did. I won't say what she did, but there are some things that she did in the past that are horrible and completely change your view of who she is. And Jason's kind of point was that they didn't really connect. But the problem I have with that argument is that, yes, it does, because she's in complete denial of what she did. Now, he could make the argument that, I won't talk too much about it. Now, he could make the argument that, it could have been done better or whatever. But I thought it was done just fine, because, again, I mean, as the old saying goes, we're all the heroes of our own stories. Even villains think that they're the heroes of their own stories. You don't think Hitler thought he was doing the wrong thing. He was a crazy son of a bitch, but he thought he was doing what was right. Don't take that out of context. But Laurie is the same way, but she's in denial what she did. She has these litany of bullshit excuses that she has throughout the books, which is very subtle at first, but then becomes far more apparent as the story moves along. And we end up realizing, and she ends up realizing, along with us, that she is a monster, just like Edmund. And she ultimately embraces it, in a way. Which, again, I won't spoil how. But that's ultimately what I think. But again, I don't want to bring up too much, but that's kind of my issue with his argument in that review, is that it is mentioned, it is set up, but it's just your perspective changes as the story moves along. You think, oh, Laurie's just, whatever. But I read this again not too long ago, after Jason read it, because I recommended it to him. I thought he would like it, and you could see from the very beginning that there is these just excuses that she makes for herself. It's almost Walter White-esque, how he's often saying, it's for the family, except she is far more disturbed than Walter White could ever dream of being. But, yeah, that's really what I think. It's ultimately about denial when it comes to Laurie, and that's kind of the power of the book, because she's in denial, and Triana tricks you into feeling sorry for her. But then he takes the rug out from under you and shows you the true person she is inside. And I think that's really impressive. And, I think that's a really great writing tool. But yeah, that's basically all the thoughts I have. Triana is definitely a talent I'm going to be checking out. Hilariously, he actually put out a sequel to this book called Along a River of Flesh, I think is what it's called. Just recently. I have not picked it up yet, and I do plan on reading more from Christopher Triana. He's definitely jumped up on my list of authors to keep my eye on, because, he showcased with this that he's a very talented man. And I do hope that he puts out more books that are of this quality. And from considering how prolific he's been, it seems like my wish is being fulfilled. So thank you, Mr. Triana. But yeah, no, it's not really, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, it's kind of funny. The sequel to this book came out. It's called Along the River of Flesh. I have not read it yet. I definitely will, because I really love this book. And, I thought, it would be... Now, I didn't really think this book needed a sequel, but hey, I'm not going to tell Triana what to do as a writer. In all honesty, if he feels like doing a sequel, he can go right ahead. I'll just read it and tell him what I think, because, that's what critics and reviewers do. But, I did love Gone to See the Riverman, though. So, yeah, that's really all I got to say for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to go check me out on other social media, I am on Twitter. You can go check me out on Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I put up written reviews that are probably more coherent than the one you just heard right now. And I have a Discord. Come join me if you dare. But yeah, no. Want to see the Riverman. great book. Go check it out. Just go do it.